Hello everyone, my name is Relax and Panic and this is another reaction to Nisemonogatari. You know what to do. As always, please go down into my descriptions. There's a link. You can replace the circumflex dot parts as real dots and watch the reaction itself. Once you've done, feel free to come back here, hear out my thoughts about this episode. So, see you soon. For those that came back, welcome back. Now, this episode, well, nice one. It was split in many parts. It felt to me a bit like the first one, which was just the introduction, you know, before the intro. Would go on longer and longer, but it was just about 5 minutes, but it was very entertaining as always, because it was with Hachikuji, and I really like her by now. That was something, we had it in the past, we had it, in one of the last episodes, Araragi promised to not grapple her again. Not to her, to someone else. And that's what he did this time, so he did not sexually harass her. Instead, he just, you know, tapped her on the shoulder. And that's what set her off, because she doesn't like that. She is like, interestingly enough, the harassment before was part of their friendship, was part of the weirdness that he has, that made him special to her. And now he became boring to her. You know, she's not interested in spending time. She still does. So, but it seems to be like, yeah, well, it's a complicated thing. It's this, at least she stated that she kind of liked it. That's why she said as though she doesn't like it. So he would do it more. And that's why the world is complicated. So, well, whatever. She didn't even spell his name wrong anymore due to that. By the way, he did spell her name wrong in the end, which I kind of liked as well. But yeah, I can see her point in a slightly bit. I still do not agree very much on it, because it still causes other problems, but let's not go in there too deep. What I realized is that they were in a completely different environment. I mean, the city before we have seen was always a little bit gray, a lot of cement roads and huge buildings, mainly glass and steel, lampposts and electricity and all this stuff, but that's it, you know, like a modern era city, which is not very nice to look at. But where they were going, they were at the sea, there was sun, there were white streets, so like made from marble or stuff like that, or white stone in the end. There were, I guess, smaller houses made in white with blue fences, blue doors and stuff alike. So to me, that felt very much like the typical Mediterranean Greece city or Greece village. I'm pretty sure in Greece not all cities or villages look like that, but it is what we have in our mind when we talk about Mediterranean Sea and Greece. And I was there once or twice, so there are villages who are a bit like that, or at least the general feeling can be like that. So it was a little bit surprising, and I thought, where are they? Are they in a different part of the city, which is closer to the sea, which is at the sea, which we haven't seen before? Or is it just, you know, the mood that they are in, that they're very light in the mood now, and that's why they show it in pictures in the meaning of the city seems different? Or did she transport them somewhere? Possibly not, but that would be cool. So, it was a bit surprising to me why they had this completely different place there. Especially when you see later on, when he's with Senjugahara, you still again have her small room, this closed up space. It's all dark around. The area around her flat is dark and kind of looming. The house of Araragi, we haven't seen so much, but it was in white and black, so it was kept gray. So they went a lot with colors here, in my opinion. And the time with Hachikuji, after they discussed about this problem in the beginning, they walked over an open field, completely open field, so no city at all, and then into this Mediterranean village. So I guess it is meant to mean something in the possibly emotional sense, which would mean that he feels kind of light and free with Hachikuji, which is interesting. So for a moment he could let his mind go, which would be nice. I mean, it's more neither for me the same. When she's in, you know, when I watch this series, each character has its very own meaning, each character has its own way of handling situations, and puts a different kind of knowledge, emotions, and pressure to it. So there are characters who are very heavy on the talking, on focused on the story. So as example, Senjugahara, you always have to look out a bit because she's playing very much with words. So I really try to be concentrated more there, but it's not easy. While Hachikuji, although she quite often may give interesting informations or secondary thoughts on the same matter, is way more light for me. She's entertainment, you know? She is a funny thing in the series. She is the light one, the happy one. And so when she comes on, I'm like, oh yeah, just relax, have fun. Possibly it's the same for you, because I know many of you like Hachikuji. So, just my 2 cents. What I thought was interesting in the end, when she left, she stated that in her opinion, Senjugahara doesn't like her. Why does she think so? And if that would be true, why? I mean, she is no opposition to her. She's no problem for her at all. She's just an invisible ghost Araragi is talking to from time to time. But maybe that it is. The fact that, as far as we know, Hachikuji can be seen only by Araragi, I think. And so Senjugahara cannot deal with her directly if anything ever comes up. Maybe that's it why. While for every other problem, every other of the girls, if needed, she could just go there and take out a pencil. Yeah. Well, they had the interesting talk about age, the two of them, Hachikuji and Araragi, about the fact, how old are you? How do you behave? Are you an adult? Are you grown up? When is the time when you are an adult? So in the meaning of what do one have to do to become an adult, to be counted as an adult? Yeah, they clearly shone a light on that there are different moments. There is by law that at a specific age you are counted as an adult. Although these laws may be different from place to place. Especially if you look in the world, we have countries where you're counted adult with 18 and others you're counted as 21. That's one thing. You can reflect it very much on, just going off a little bit off here, on when are you allowed to drive, to have sex, and to drink. Those are 3 major things we seem to put in with being an adult. By the way, in my opinion, there should be a 4th one. When are you allowed, or even at all, to carry a weapon, use a weapon, or are allowed to be trained at a weapon, which is not all the same for me. So if you see there are countries in the world where you're allowed to drink with 18. There are others where you're allowed to drink with 21. In some European countries, like the one I live in, you're allowed to drink with 16 if it is not hard beverage. So like a beer is not hard, you're allowed to drink with 16. And you're even allowed to drink it with 14 if your parents are nearby and they buy it for you, as example. Like my father. So that's a huge difference. So you can see let's just say with 16 you can buy a beer here in Germany, with 21 in the US as far as I know, which is weird. But on the other hand, oh no, was it 18? I always mix those up. One thing was 21. However, having intimate relationships is allowed with 18 in most of the countries of the world, which makes it weird that you're allowed to have babies but not allowed to have a drink. By the way, I do not drink, but I'm completely okay with people who are like, I'm done with work and I want to have a beer, as long as they're like, I have a beer and not a 6-pack of beer. So that's a weird thing. So that was something spurred on from this episode. However, she said one thing, the worst thing in the world is an adult who acts like a child. Yeah, well, now that's something that opens a play field of discussions. I can see what she means, I think. If you're an adult, you are meant to behave in a specific kind of way. You are meant to not throw tantrum, you know? To swallow your pride if needed, because it is necessary for the greater good, for society, or whatever. It is, if you have just example friends, family and so on, you shouldn't be someone going in your room, slamming the door and saying, I'm not coming out until you say sorry, stuff like that, you know? Or, you know, all those things. But if we are honest, we are all still children. Inside we are. I had this discussion with a lot of friends of mine. I mean, I'm not the youngest anymore, and if I look around my friends and part of my family of same age, there's not so much difference in behavior. Yes, we are more grown up by now, but we still have some kind of the same hobbies, and some of those are very childish. And when I invite people to me, we have as example a tabletop day. Which I have some tabletop games in the next room. Yes, we do the grown-up thing. We grill. You know, we eat and we have fun, and I invite them. But then we are very, very childish, because it's 4, 5 or 6 of us together. We are friends, and many of us know each other since we were kids. And in many ways we do behave like kids, because in this moment you don't have to be an adult if you're with friends. You can be a kid, and they're okay with this because they can be a kid again as well. You have to be an adult in the moment when one of them is, you know, being mean, rude, or whatever happens, or one of them has a bad time, something happened. Then you have to be an adult and keep up and help each other. But that's something even kids do. So I see her point. A grown-up that doesn't act like one is the worst thing. But on the other hand, I think it relieves a lot of stress if you can be, at least for some minutes a day, be a kid again. Which is possibly a part of why we watch stuff like that. Just mentioning. So, yeah, and he had the Araragi had the problem that he kind of would like his sisters to be grown up, to be adults. But he cannot ask them for it because you can't switch it on like that, you know? There are multiple things there. One thing is, we had it already before, when are you considered an adult? By age? He even mentioned, or I'm not sure if it was Araragi or Hachikuji, but one of them mentioned, in the moment when you start working, you are considered an adult. Yes. There are moments when people start with like 16 to work in real. You know, they are not going to higher school education, they just have a normal school education and end off with 16, and then they go and learn how to work and what to do. In this moment they are considered in many ways to be an adult because they earn their own money. So these things happen. But then there are other things, you know, when are you an adult? When you make a choice that is grown up, when you are forced to make a choice like that. So I'm not sure, but I think in many ways, at least Karen already acts like an adult. She's partially child, no question there. But she stood up for what she thinks is right and tries to defend it, which gives her at least a part of being an adult and grown up, I would say. And then we have the thing, who is anyone, not only Araragi, who is anyone to force someone to be an adult? It is, yes, we know this sentence, come on, grow up, stuff like that. Or man up, as sometimes is said, which isn't good either. It should be the decision of the person, but it isn't. Normally you are being grown up by society. It happens by itself, you know? But I remember that many grown-ups always say, I wish I could be a child one more day. I wish the typical wish, I wish I would know and have the experience of the life I have now when I was 14. Just an example. And if so, then please give me the lottery numbers of the next day so I have money. That's okay. But yeah, having the knowledge of a grown-up, of an older person, and the experiences while being in your younger self would, on the one hand, give you possibly a head start. But on the other hand, those experiences shaped you to who you are now. So, not sure if it would be really good. They could make a series out of that. I think they did. So, yeah, a lot of me mumbling here. Sorry. It is a very wild field where I can let my brain run free, and it very often leaves my body behind. So sorry. Oh, okay. Yeah, and then we went to the other plot lines. So, intro and Senjugahara, and she is sharpening pencils. That was like, oh no, something's going to happen. That will be entertaining. So she thought about, well, I'm not sure if she really thought about killing Kaiki, but she at least wants to threaten him and be armed if needed. I mean, we know that she uses those tools. We have seen it in the past, that she is willing to cut and hurt people. She did with Araragi without knowing that he has regenerative powers, so so she wants to see him, and there happened a lot of stuff. He was a conman, so he lured her parents into giving him more and more money, and in the end he caused the split of her parents by using the curse, the sickness of the daughter. I like the fact that Senjugahara is willing and able to admit that her parents would have split whatsoever. It was something that was about to happen. But Kaiki used this problem they had and spurred it even on. So he made it happen. It would have happened by itself, but he was the one that, in this timeline, put in the last drop of water, or throw the last stone, however you want to name it. And she's just not willing to forgive him. She wants to have him pay for it, and not financial. Although, if, I guess that would be something that would work. Just thinking about the wording, I want to have him pay for it. For everyone else, it would be like, not financial. It is just a wording. For Kaiki, that would be possibly torture. Just thinking about. I mean, he loves money. He is completely in for money. If they really want to torture him, they want him to feel bad about what happened, or to admit whatever, if they can make him pay money by himself actively or lose money, that possibly would be the best way of torturing him, of making him pay. Just thinking about it, So she's very much playing the tsundere here, the card that she is this way, so that's why she's behaving. I'm not sure about these stereotypes, you know? The fact that she is playing with it, the fact that she says herself, I am that, that is why I'm allowed to act this way, or why I'm acting this way, kind of makes it strange, you know? But whatever. They talked about Araragi's sister. I really like this sentence. They are allies of justice. Just like you. He really didn't like that one. And I think in many ways that is true. He is. Just the difference is his sisters call that for themselves. So they say, we are allies of justice. They really like that. While he doesn't want to be named like that. But he acts like, you know, he really tries to help people. We have seen it. In many ways, his sisters behave like he did in season 1. They're just going in, they're just trying to help without thinking too much about it, without checking who they are fighting against. That is what he did in the first season. And now he has learned a bit and tries to school them, you know, tries to say that they should act differently, not make the mistakes he did, but he's not even aware that that they do the same mistakes he did in the past. So very much they're just following his footsteps without knowing, I guess. We had this very tender moment, which was a little bit pushed over, the moment that he said he loves her and he just wants to come along, you know. But there was the I love you in it, and it was not forced, it was not strange at all. He just, you know, he said it, and that's why I want to accompany you, I want to help you. And by the way, that was the one that won her over. Before that, she wasn't allowing him, and after she did. So I'm pretty sure it was that one that won her over. We had the fact that she still mentions Hanekawa as kind of a master and bully. I think it is about this storyline idea we had about Hanekawa allowing her to be with him, not pulling the card, you know. That was mentioned in the past, you know. So that's why she kind of looks up to her as like someone who has a leash on you. So Hanekawa kind of has Senjugahara on a leash, because there is always this danger she might call in the love of Araragi for herself. But I think Senjugahara overplays it a little bit, uses it as being the tsundere that she is, as like, I have to do what she says, you know, stuff like that. Oh well. And he had to make a promise which he doesn't know what it is yet. Well, in general, if anyone, whoever tells you, you owe me one, in the meaning of you have to do something one time what I want, it is very much the question how it is said, but it felt a lot like, when we get there, you will have to do one thing I ask, you are not allowed to say no, and you have to do it the way I ask. I mean, that could be everything. That could be like, kill yourself, or kill someone else, or steal a car or a horse with me, you know? In general, I would say never agree to stuff like that. There are some moments or persons where I see that you still do. Like, if you completely trust someone, like we seem to have it here with Araragi and Senjugahara. There is a very deep trust. So I can see it. There are other moments like when someone is, which is not in the series, when someone is doing something incredible, valuable to you. Like, I don't know, saving the life of a family member or stuff like that. And then he says, I can do that, but you will owe me something like that, you know? There's always the question, how do you measure things up with each other? So I see he agrees, but I'm pretty sure this will be a tough one. And I guess it will be in the next episode. She then says to come along, and they will protect each other, which I like a lot. I mean, I'm still not sure about the real power physically that Senjugahara has. It is a bit strange because I remember that I think her power is not physical at all. Her power is the power of the mind. She has very, very much influence on people. She can make people do things, you know? I'm not sure if this will help against Kaiki, because he seems to be very similar when it comes to that. But I think she's stronger than Araragi when it comes to that. So it's a good combination. Araragi brings the physical power, she brings the mental power. So going in together might be of a benefit. And well, we will see what Kaiki is thinking about it. I don't know how she wants to make him do what she wants. We will see that. Karen is gone as well now, so either she is at the place of Kaiki already and they will meet her there, or she is just around the neighborhood now, because the last scene of this episode looked a bit like it. And we had the last scene, which is, as I said, it started gray in very gray, white, black, with the little sister saying that she went away, that she ran away, kind of. There was this very good thing, this one sentence, if he, I think it was about trust, I'm not sure anymore. The answer was, however, I do trust you, I do, but I worry about you. Which is the typical Big Brother problem, you know? You always worry about everyone else, in this case about the little sister. So he worries about his sisters, that's why he's sometimes grumpy. And when he went out, we had Shinobu appear, and that is an interesting thing. So I'm not sure, but I think it is the first time we see her out in the light, in the meaning of in the sunlight, talking about vampires, and she's not sparkling, thank God. But however, she appears because he needs her help, but he didn't request it. So she does it on her own. And as she explained later on, when she is ordered to do something, she has to do it, because they have a soul bond, and thus she is, and he's a master in this right now. And we know if he will get weaker one day, she will come out and kill him. But so when he orders something, she has to follow. If he just, you know, asks or wishes, she doesn't have to be. So, although she stated that she, I mean, she even gave him all those informations, so she wants to be ordered, and is a bit of tsundere as well. But still, the first pop-up, the first appearance, means she kind of wants to help. That where I always ask myself, how good is she really? Because seeing her background story, what we know yet, she was a vampire, and she already threatened him a bit. You know, she helps him quite a lot. She helps him really, really much. All in the past, if you see alone the powers she gave him, but she came out multiple times to help him and defend him. So I'm not sure where she stands exactly. She seems to be kind of friendly connected to him, but it is a very strange relationship those two have, because she is bound to him permanently at the moment. I think she tries to keep his guard up by stating, if you will get ever weak, I will kill you. So she, by doing so, she kind of forces him to stay strong, which is possibly good for her as well. But why is she helping him? She states if he's not sleeping well, she's not either. If he's having, you know, let's call it mental problems, he's, you know, having a lot of issues in his head, that keeps her busy as well. So I guess maybe that's why she's coming out. So she has more time to rest once he has settled again. As I say, kind of like her, but I do not completely trust her. Because out of the simple reason that I do not know enough at all about what this relationship is like. And even herself, she stated that who of the two of them is the master, is the superior in their relationship, is very complicated. Right now, it is him who is stronger. I'm not sure if this might not change in the future. And by talking that the relationship is very complicated, it might be that we have a moment in the future where she is the stronger one and doing what she wants. And that may cause interesting problems, you know, if she's kind of able to move his body. Just as example, you know, that he's not the pilot anymore. Just talking about future, might be happening. But right now she's helping. She can sense Karen because of the blood relation. Brother and sister, you know. And she just pointed somewhere where he just looked. So question is if Karen is just sitting there on a lamppost or on a house, or if she is pointing to a building, possibly one which he knows. So we will see. Next episode, I'm pretty sure we will have a meetup of possibly all 3-4 of them. So I'm really waiting for the moment, possibly in the room again. That would be nice, with the music of Kaiki, because I like it. So of the meeting of Kaiki, Araragi, including Shinobu, Karen and Senjugahara. Interesting thing there is that right now Karen doesn't know of any special abilities of her brother, which is something that Kaiki might use against them, you know, because he wants to keep it hidden right now. I don't think that will be hidden very much longer if Kaiki is around as well. So that will be an interesting climax. I'm not sure, but I kind of hope it's in the last episode next time from this storyline. And in the outro, where the sisters talked again, we even heard them saying, let's hope it's the last one, because then we can go for the next storyline, which is Phoenix. We will see. So, I think that's it for this time. I hope you liked. I liked for sure. And I will see you on the next time. Until then, please feel free to comment, like, and subscribe. My name is Relax and Panic. Goodbye and out.